Good morning, hello, happy Sunday, and welcome to another edition of Love Wrestling Sunday Brunch right here on Love Wrestling. Whether you're watching on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube Live, however it may be, thanks for joining us at the Love Wrestling crew. Wraps up the week in wrestling. Questions, gives a little bit of a preview on what you guys can expect from the week, share some laughs, and most importantly, continue chatting as we have been for the last, 30 weeks that we're into this? Congratulations. We're almost at the 83 weeks portion of it. Yeah, somebody's probably missing a headphone. That's all there is. But we'll figure out the technical difficulties as we go. Of course, friends, we want to thank RK Athletics for their sponsorship. As always, make sure you give them a follow on social media as well, whether it is on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. You can find them at RK Athletics 1. We also want to make sure we give a quick shout out to the link on the bottom. You see there, donate.tiltify.com/@LoveWrestlingCA/Trevor Project. We've eclipsed our goal. We've eclipsed our goals this month. We've raised over $2,100 for the Trevor Project. But that doesn't mean that there isn't time to continue to build on that. We are taking donations until the end of the month. There are 3 more days to do so. So if you want to head to that link, please feel encouraged to. However you guys choose to support is always encouraged, whether it is just tuning in this morning like good buddy Ed. Ed watching Sunday Brunch while out at brunch, waiting for the partner in crime to show up. It's good to see you, friend. Thank you for hopping on. It is always appreciated. And if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, any queries, anything along those lines of things, please feel free to throw them our way. We are here to chat for about the next hour. However, JPJ, I'll turn to you first, man. You've been chatting wrestling for the last few hours, of course. Double dosing today. Earlier today, you were on the War Report with Maddie, the franchise Cell. Good to see you, man. Give a quick little recap of what you guys chatted about. Obviously, AEW Dynamite, but maybe some personal favorites, some stuff you loved from last night's episode, and how you were doing this morning.
Yeah, I'm doing very well. Last night's Dynamite was a pretty good one. Obviously, we were both jacked up for the Jungle Boy Omega main event. That match delivered. It was a little, for me personally, I was expecting a tad more, but it delivered. But it was a fun match. Dynamite was good per usual. I mean, it's a show that I enjoy very, very much. But yeah, man, it was fun. It's always good getting on there with Matt and, getting back to normal next week, doing the 2 shows at once review, which will be nice. But yeah, man, it was fun. A lot of fun. Always is.
And as Joe mentioned, next Thursday, they're back to their regularly scheduled programming on Thursday mornings here on Love Wrestling. We'll get to that in a little bit, though. I got to turn to the man on my right, my nearest and dearest co-host on the POS show specifically. Chris Parrish, good to see you, man. How you doing?
I'm barely awake, but I'm doing all right. I'm enjoying a nice s'more Pop-Tart because we need more Pop-Tart in our life.
You ever had butter on a Pop-Tart? It's so friggin' good. No, man. Seriously,
disgusting.
So.
Yeah.
How are you feeling after second dose yesterday?
I'm fine because I'm not a Karen. Let's go.
Well, that makes one of us. I got hit like an absolute friggin' brick. Good to see you, man. How are you, friend?
I feel like after we talked about butter on Pop-Tarts, we should mention that RK Athletics is sponsoring this episode.
That's how I managed to keep this svelte figure, Kyle Shaw. Like I would be a lot portlier if I was not to be taking the good fitness advice that he's providing. But Zach, how are you doing, my friend? It's good to see you just mere hours after the wompening, after I kicked some ass, and especially yours.
You won like one match.
Hey, it ain't about what actually happened. It's about the story.
It's true.
You understand where I'm coming from, Zach.
Creating the narrative here, man.
You and I are becoming allies now.
Yeah, again, very fun night. We've played some Among Us, played some Jackbox, and people got me dancing by making $10 contributions to the Trevor Project. So let's put a pin in that for brunch. Always looking for new ways to raise money. I'm still going to pass the buck on. I did my dance last night. I think someone else should take it. But if it comes back to me, I think I'm going to do the Billy Kay, like disrespect your surroundings.
Oh yeah, okay, absolutely. I won't even count that as my dancing. I'm just disrespecting my surroundings. Mr. J, Good to see you after hosting Word Slam yesterday, dude. It was a pleasure to watch. If you guys get the opportunity to following today's Sunday brunch, please make sure you go and check out the replay on youtube.com/lovewrestlingca. Almost ran out of breath, but didn't quite. How are you doing?
Oh, you got your shit in.
That is getting one shit in, I will be honest. Well done. I'm good. I feel good about the show last night. If you'd like to watch it, go on lovewrestling.ca, whatever Spencer just said. Go watch it. I put a lot of love into it, and it was fun.
Joel Pearl here to disrespect Spencer Love. That's fine. As long as you're doing the dance, dude, I'm fine with it. If we're doing right by Billy Kay, Jessica McKay, disrespect me all you want because she deserves all the respect in the world. Speaking of professional wrestlers near and dear to our heart, the Canadian Goose, Kyle Shaw. Good to see you, man. You're back in action. You're back in the ring. It's good to see. How have the first few shows been, man?
It sucks because I'm injured and I'm not back in action.
You're close enough to back in action. The Super Friends are doing their things at real Canadian wrestling shows across Alberta.
We did storm down to Calgary. I was managing my good friend Dead Zone there. We welcomed Jude Dawkins into the Super Friends, but Jude Dawkins turned out to be a douche canoe. So Jude Dawkins is no longer a Super Friend.
Because I've been saying that one for years.
Evergreen.
Then Friday night, they were at a loss, and so your boy, the Canadian Goose, put on his announcer cap, and old Kyle Shaw there got back behind the microphone and decided to MC that show. And I've always I love I'm a pretty good announcer, so I enjoy doing it. But, I enjoy wrestling more, but every time I get behind the microphone, it's always a ton of fun because I feel super comfortable doing it. And it's just one of those things. I have a lot of confidence in myself when it comes to announcing.
I love to hear it, dude. We got a question from
My
handsome Joel
skills
Pearl
are
in the
not on
comments.
display here today, though. Apparently, it's mumbled my way through that. I'm sorry.
Well, and hopefully not on camera whatsoever. But we are going to talk about some oral skills today because JPJ, as you 100% threw up a great point in the chat, as I'm sure we've all seen on Twitter by this point. 10 years ago today, the Pipe Bomb, a promo that you guys may have heard of a little bit, a little known one from one Chick Magnet Punk.
Charles Montgomery Punk to you.
Thank you very much. I was hoping someone else would jump in with more. It's appreciated. So JPJ, I'm going to let you take the first shot here or throw the first comment in. But first we want to throw in here, Lawrence, thank you very much for tackling off your paid obligations. Here to respect Spencer Love. It's appreciated. And throw back what's good. It's a Sunday morning and I'm chatting wrestling with friends. How
Word
can things
Slam's
possibly
also good.
be bad when that is going on? I 100% agree, Mr. J. We've got some highlights coming up. Dan, good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us this morning, and thank you for joining us yesterday. Of course, we got to give a big old shout out to Big Bad Ben. If you guys want to throw him some support on Twitch, it is at Big Ben is Angry. He's also raised some money for the Trevor Project. Last night, he raised $444 through a 12-hour stream. I was lucky enough to join him on there. Speedball Bailey joined us. Danhausen joined us. It was an absolute friggin' blast, and of course, raising money for a great cause. So I do always want to take that opportunity. You guys see the link scrolling across the bottom. We are fairly well known for our shameless plug-in, but if there is anything that we are going to plug, it of course will be to donate to the Trevor Project. Donate.tiltify.com/@LoveWrestlingCA/Trevor Project is the way to do it. I'll dance for every $10 donation, Zach. I'll take you up on that. You're right. If you're throwing down the gauntlet, somebody else has to pick her up. But JPJ, the plugs are out of the way. The aisle is clear for you, my friend. Let's talk about the Pipe Bomb. Let's talk about why you specifically wanted to talk about it outside of just it being the anniversary of it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the Pipe Bomb kind of got me back into wrestling for me personally. Okay. 10 years ago, I was in my mid-20s, out of college, kind of figuring out what to do. And I didn't have time. I had time, but I wasn't keeping up with wrestling as much as I had been my whole life and stuff. I paid attention to what was going on the internet and kept up with it, but I wasn't watching regularly. And I remember coming home from, I think, work, and I had messages on my phone from all my friends like, "Hey man, you watching Raw?" And I was like, "No." And they were
This
like,
is the
yo,
first time
CM
I've got this text in years.
yeah, exactly. I was going to say nowadays those texts don't happen, but and they were like, yo, CM Punk cut a promo at the end, and like it was crazy. Like the stuff he was saying was like super real, and like he was bad mouthing Vince, like all this stuff. So I remember like going, getting inside and watching Raw late, and I remember when it happened, I was like, at the time, I was thinking to myself, this is the best promo I've ever seen in my life. Like that at the time, fresh. I was like, this is crazy. He mentioned like, what if the company's going to be better off when Vince dies? And he called John Laurinaitis a douchebag, and he called Stephanie stupid and Hunter idiot. Like he was just going to things that we never hear promos like that. Austin
you don't hear
did
people
it with
say
McMahon.
that about anybody.
Anybody.
Anywhere, nonetheless,
Like,
in a wrestling promo.
Yeah, like Austin and Austin McMahon things. He would make fun of Vince and call him an idiot and stuff like that. But it wasn't like this. This felt more real. It felt more like, whoa. And, they mentioned Ring of Honor. They mentioned New Japan. They were talking about everything. He was talking about everything. And,
and Colt
Cabana.
Colt Cabana. Yeah, breaking the fourth wall. He called out Colt Cabana, talked New Japan, Ring of Honor. Like, it was so good. And it's like,
if you were to like pull that list of banned words up that keeps going around every few years, he probably took like 3/4 off.
Yeah.
It's like a scavenger hunt he was trying to do in the promo, man. Let's get them all out of the way.
Yeah, for real. And then, what it led up to was like that whole thing that started with that Summer of Punk there with Money in the Bank and all that. That was like, man, that was a storyline to remember. That Money in the Bank match with Cena is an all-time, like that atmosphere, that match, everything involved with that, to me is like an all-time angle in professional. They rushed it and they brought him back. They should have kept him off TV forever.
And
like,
then then we never got the CM Punk Kevin Nash match that we were all hoping for.
So
I got a lot of love for both those guys.
Yeah, man. That promo, at least for me, it 100%. I never went fully away from wrestling, but it 100% got me back to like, I'm watching this every week. This was like, you're back in it. It was just incredible.
Absolutely, man.
Just incredible.
Couple comments in there before Mr. J. I think we'll move to you with the host of Poetry on a Promo here, talking about the anniversary of a great promo. You'll be the next up. But we got Throwback in there. Punk's promos changed the game and made being real in wrestling. It made you see what talent have set at point in WWE, what was wrong, and possibly still is. I still want my ice cream, damn it. Hi, Pluggo. Pluggo's in the chat. Hello, friend. Good to see you, and good to see all of the rest of you, including former Quizplex champion, WrestleMania, getting the handsome emotes in there. Of course, if you guys would like to get those of your own, feel more than free to throw us a subscription on Twitch, but however you choose to support is appreciated. Lauren's hopping in as well. It gave a voice to every lapsed fan, and I think that's a very, very good point there as well. Mr. J, I'll let you move on. Give us your thoughts on the pipe bomb 10 years later. Anything you want. Take her any direction, man. You're the one who understands the poetry of these things. You lead the charge.
When we talk about poetry and promos, this is one of the first that comes to mind. I have covered this on my show extensively. It is a very long episode, but it's so worth it because the words that he selects, you can tell it's like, you used real earlier. It's like, it's frustration. It's fantastic. And it's like, we'd never heard this before. Yeah. Okay. That's the technical mumbo jumbo, whatever. The reason that I remember this is because I remember a certain person in this room right now, Zach, telling me, holy crap, dude, you have to watch this. And I had not been watching WWE at the time because I was like, meh, I don't need to see another Triple H promo for 25 minutes at the beginning of the show. Thanks. No thanks. I have better things to do. So, sorry. He might be on an episode in the future, but then they'll be 10 years long. So,
or a Sunday brunch in the future. Triple H, open line to come on and rebuke that
Hop
point
on in
if you would like to.
I don't think I'll be allowed on that.
Hop in my DMs.
Somebody clip that.
Clip that.
But Zach, you were tweeting about it earlier today as well. Like, your thoughts as well. And Mr. J, I shouldn't have interrupted as well, so you can finish your point before we get to Zach.
Shame on you, sir.
I've earned that.
Yeah,
I've earned that.
And again, like from then on, I kind of watched until CM Punk left because he was the only watchable part of Raw, and the promos just got better and better. And then we got the Click promo and all of that. It was just fantastic. Yeah. Go and listen to that episode of Poetry for Promo. Did I get a cheap plug in there? Yeah, I did.
Oh, hell yeah, you did. Well done. Excellently done. Zach,
Yes,
your
sir.
thoughts? It's 10 years
Yeah,
since the pipe bomb. You're still waiting out for Kevin Nash versus CM Punk. We know on that end of things. But any other thoughts?
Well, like again, an amazing promo. Like I said, like Mr. J said, gave him a call, said you have to check this out. It was probably the first pay-per-view following that we ended up watching together in who knows how long. You know, whenever I think of the pipe bomb, like again, an outstanding promo, I just can't help but grieve for what could have been, because it just kind of spiraled into like a very disappointing angle. Money in the Bank was great and everything, but Punk was making the WWE Championship more interesting than it had been in years without it being on the program. When he was off contract, so to speak, you know, he was doing the Comic-Con crashing. Yeah. He was going to the Indies. I wanted to see more of that. And I think they had a beautiful opportunity. They could have done like a tournament like they did, but have it like end at SummerSlam, have Rey Mysterio versus John Cena, and just have CM Punk tweet photos of his SummerSlam ticket. You could have had real buzz for the real WWE champion and the tournament finals. Like, they could have had so much more, but instead we got a disappointing cash in. We got Kevin Nash texting himself from Triple H's phone, and you know that is what it is.
To see the text message,
I do. Also, anytime we bring this up, we have to like just talk about the fact that we got a lot of love for Big Bad Kev. Guy's a stud in every sense of the word. Not a fan of the storyline. Not a fan of the storyline whatsoever. Darnell, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for hopping in as always, man. I think this has been 5 or 6 or 7 weeks in a row you've been here. So thanks for making us a part of your Sunday morning routine, friend. It is appreciated. Dan hopping in with a great comment as well. I know this has nothing to do with the promo itself, but you guys talking about Punk saying banned words remind me of the Raw where Punk hit Cena with a pile driver. Yeah, it was neat. Those are some of my favorite matches out there, man. Punk and Cena.
I was going to say that specific match. Yeah, that specific match on Raw, that was like, I think that's their best match when they were, it was for the number one contendership for the Raw. Amazing match. They had some all-time classics together. Those two could just do whatever they wanted, you know?
Completely agree. Goose, I'm going to move to you with the next sort of pivot in the pipe bomb promo. I tried to think of another word with P, but I couldn't, so sorry. Your turn, I suppose. What I was going to ask you, though, propaganda works. It's not an entirely perfect fit, but we're going with it. Our pipe bomb promo pontification, there we go.
Nice.
Is it the best promo of the last decade, in your opinion?
Yeah, it is. I straight up, like, it's an influential promo for sure. Definitely, like, you know, as somebody that kind of like tries to cut as many promos as I can, like on shows, it's definitely been an influence. Like every time that I've cut a promo that has like reality in it,
yeah,
it's usually much better.
Yeah, it's not just like your typical scripted
I turned
stuff.
To the camera and said, "Hi, Spencer, love." Like that's straight up. I just ripped it off from CM Punk, right? Like, I don't know what just happened there. Everybody's screen went black for a second. Hopefully, we didn't lose the gimmick. But it's one. Yeah, it's like it is 100% like the best promo of the modern era, in my personal opinion. I mean, if you kind of think like iconic promos in wrestling, like it's the pipe bomb and Austin 316 just whooped your ass to me.
Yeah, with a tear in my eye would be the only other one I might throw in there. But
the only other segment I can think of from Raw that really was like, oh, you got to go check this out right now is when the Nexus showed up and just laid waste to Raw.
Great shout.
So
great shout. Parrish, I'm going to go to you after this one, but of course we want to highlight the comments. If we're encouraging them, let's make sure we shout our friends out. Throwback in there with Punk made WWE more interesting and made the WWE title more of a focal point. It also made AJ Lee's pipe bomb more interesting in a way when she followed the same lines as Punk, but made it more of a hard edge with the total Bella's digs and the Chuck Taylors, all of that. These two promos by a married couple are the two best men's and women's promos. That friends will open up a very interesting discussion, I think, in the second half of Sunday Brunch here. But Parrish, I was just going to move to you and ask sort of same sort of question along the lines of Goose is like, are there any other promos over the last 10 years that stand out to you? Whether it's like the one that I'll always go to is Daniel Bryan's return promo, fight for your dreams and your dreams will fight for you. But in the wrestling sense, does it have the same impact as the pipe bomb? Even I would argue probably not. So your thoughts, are there any that maybe have the same impact that the pipe bomb has? Your thoughts, my friend, to close her out as we head towards a quick break here on Sunday Brunch.
I think one that we kind of forget to talk about was Miz on Talking Smack. I think that's one that deserves a lot of respect. But I also want to touch on what Punk did, because what he did was he established himself that he needs to be on that pedestal. And when you're put in this type of a comment where you say later on, I don't know why Paul Heyman is with him, he doesn't add anything to the microphone set, you have one of the best talkers in pro wrestling in CM Punk already.
Oh yeah.
But what is hilarious to me is, like you guys have talked about, they rushed a lot of this angles, but then all of a sudden, on a quick of a dime, because Vince is stuck in yesteryear, 400 and whatever days meant absolutely nothing when Rock Cena was supposed to be your main event. This just shows that in the biggest problem with WWE in the last 10 years that they haven't really learned yet is when you have a shot of a legit bona fide superstar who's white hot in not only pro wrestling, but culture right now, Vince needs to make that guy the focal point of WrestleMania, not Dwayne and not John. Like it's still one of those things where even though Punk catapulted himself to a whole different level, the problem with WWE that still exists is that they still don't know how to make these guys true icons of the business because they go back to what they know all the time. And that's something that I think Punk was really trying to actually like change. You even go back to looking on, he wanted the WWE title different. And instead of using him as the martyr, which he should have been, they gave it to The Rock. Then the video game comes out, and we really see to where the original idea of the Shield came out, was that promo to that video game. So I think it's very iconic, and I don't think there has been an iconic promo in the last 10 years like this one. But honorable mention for me goes to not only The Miz, but I do think the promo between Roman Reigns and John Cena, like, oh, if you want to be this, you got to learn these promos.
Called a promo, son. You're gonna have to learn how to cut one if you want to be the guy or something like that.
Yeah,
that was one of the most transitional in-house promos I've seen in WWE for the last while too.
JPJ, we'll go full circle with it. You wrap her up, and then we are going to go to a quick break here on Quizplex here on Sunday Brunch because we've got a highlight from Quizplex. Okay, I'm prone to screwing my words up every once in a while, guys.
I was going to say
like
to harp on
it's
some of
called a promo, Spencer. You're going to learn how to cut one. We're going to get to a highlight from Quizplex, but JPJ, you started her, so end her off, my friend.
I was going to say to harp on, I know we were talking about the promo, but we're talking about frustrations with the angle, and like Parrish said, they could have made CM Punk literally gave him as the next superstar on a platter, and he was a big deal. Obviously, he's considered one of the best by a lot of people. He was the world champion for 400-something days. And during that stretch, when he wasn't fighting John Cena, he main evented 2 pay-per-views as the champion. When he wasn't fighting John Cena, when he was fighting somebody else, he main evented 2 pay-per-views out of the 430-something days that he was the champion because John Cena was getting main event matches every pay-per-view because he was John Cena.
Yeah.
Who are the other two?
Unbelievable. He fought Ryback in the Hell in a Cell. And I forget the other one, but there's literally 2.
Something more unforgettable than Ryback in Hell in a Cell.
Once he kind of got with Heyman, it was a little bit different because he was a heel and it was different. They presented him as
the best in the world.
Frustrating. Like he would be in these feuds fighting Jericho for the title, and the match would be like 4th on the card because John Cena was having a grudge match with Dolph Ziggler. And that's nothing against. I love Dolzik. That's nothing against
Yeah.
Cena and Ziggler, but like,
Yeah.
how are you going to make a superstar when he's the champion and he's not even ending your shows? How's that
Yeah.
possible? Unbelievable.
Nonsense.
A very fair
Well,
point,
and
JPJ.
one last thing. You also missed the boat on Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. The most natural feud that would have been there, you missed the boat on. So sorry,
still think
Spencer,
it's
but I
gonna
also
happen.
wanted to cut that off. But
No worries. I still think it's going to happen. I think it's too tempting for the both of them, but we'll get to that one in a little bit. Guys, sometimes accidents happen. Sometimes there's a failure to capitalize willingly, and sometimes there's just mistakes. There certainly was one this Thursday on Quizplex. We tried our best. We had fun, but there were certainly some bumps in the road along the way. Check this one out for the next minute and a half. Top up your mimosa, grab a coffee, finish up your bacon, whatever you got to do this morning on Sunday brunch. Here's Veda Scott, and here's Zach giving us some laughs.
Butter your Pop-Tart.
But with that, we have 2 questions for Veda Scott. Your first question: in appearances ranging from 1992 to 1996, wrestling in a mask, what name did Eddie Guerrero compete in New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Tiger Mask.
Tiger Mask is the correct answer. Oh shoot!
Oh, it was Black Tiger. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I fucking suck.
Oh, what? Oh,
I suck.
Hold on. Nicole Matthews
give
has
it to
Black
Nicole.
Tiger.
I got really, really enthusiastic about.
I
the
got
fuck-
really.
No, it really was. It was technically Black Tiger.
It was, yes, Black Tiger 2.
I'm a piece of garbage.
No, not at all. And I went along with it. It's
I said it with such confidence.
You did. I'm like, nah, bitch. That's not it.
Yeah.
I am so relieved that it didn't throw too much of a wrench in the gears, me just going for it and saying like, yeah, that's the correct answer.
It's
Because
okay. I think for your mistake, I should get 500 points. But everyone else can get some points too.
apologize. Our host has been sacked. The new guy will be here in like 2 minutes.
Defend yourself, Zach.
Hey, it wasn't just me. I didn't click the answer. Someone else was swayed by Veda's confidence. Like she said it with such confidence. Like
Don't you have the answers written down?
Well, no,
We
I
do.
do, but I
no,
do.
that's
But
why you
like,
asked
this
us
is
on
no
the
defense.
spot.
Black Tiger, Tiger Mask. Like I did the word. Like my brain did the word associations. Like yeah, that sounds right. This and she said it with confidence. Of course,
Yeah, I was
that's
gonna
it.
say she was pretty convincing. Like that she
Yeah.
knew right away.
For
Tiger.
what it's worth, I also was like the guy producing that, and I read that, and I saw Black Tiger, and she answered Tiger Mask, and I thought, oh yeah, of course.
That's totally right.
Well, benefits of a
Either
charity game. You know, it was whose line rules. The points don't matter. We just had fun.
Exactly. But we were proud to raise over $1,000 that evening. A huge thanks again to Darren W. on that end. And we are continuing to raise this morning. In fact, we have broken $2,200. We are currently sitting at $2,202. Not quite the rush pun that we tried to make after Quizplex, Zach, but I'm sure there's something there. Thank you guys. Once again, it is always appreciated. And if you want to continue to donate to the Trevor Project, we've got 3 more days to do so at donate.tiltify.com/@LoveWrestlingCA/Trevor Project. It is appreciated however you choose to support. And if you want to throw some financial means behind that support, that is our preferred way. That is our favorite way. That is the way nearest and dearest to our hearts this month. Now, there were a couple of interesting comments in there, and one that kind of caught my eye, I'm sure you guys noticed when I was bringing it up, is Throwback talking about AJ Lee's pipe bomb. And it sort of brings for me when we really think that one's left off of it, because it is, in my opinion, got a lot of equal weight as far as it goes for the women's division, and really starting that the phrase women's revolution is so convoluted and cliche by this point, I think, but like really being one of those foundational things for the women's evolution. So let's talk about greatest women's promos of all time. And Mr. J, I think it's an easy way for me to default, but if you're going to host a show called Poetry of a Promo on a promo-based discussion, I got to pick on you first, right?
Who says it's picking on me? I got one loaded right away because it's my next episode. And we've been talking about her so much. It's AJ Lee. If you're going to start, you got to start, if not near the top, at the top. Because I remember that promo live. I remember watching it and thinking, oh man, how are they both so good at this shit? And it's so much fun to watch because watching, you know, and the reason I like AJ Lee's promo style is because of the fact that, you know, you get the guys going, oh, well, you know, you suck. Okay, whatever. You don't get that from women's wrestling as much. You do occasionally, but with AJ, this was like knives being thrown at people who were just like, no, we were playing catch. Now I have a knife in my face. That's what her promos are like. And I'm just like, nobody talks about
I don't think I've ever heard it described any better. Well played.
This is why I have my own show. So yeah, that's AJ Lee is my top. And on, I think it's July 5th, you're going to hear a lot more from me about AJ Lee on Poetry for Promo.
Where's Becky Lynch line up in that one? I'm going to turn to, you know what? I'll go to Goose. I asked how he was doing later. I asked about CM Punk later. I'm going to ask him about Becky Lynch earlier. Where do you think Becky Lynch stands on that list of great promos?
Becky Lynch is she's one of the best women's promos. I mean, her accent alone just brings it up a notch for me, to be honest with you, because I just buy Becky Lynch, if she says I'm the toughest broad here and I could whoop everyone, I believe it,
Becky Lynch would kick all of our asses at the same time, 6 ways to Sunday. And I've got no qualms about my masculinity or ability to fight or whatever metric you want to weigh on it, but she would kick my ass 6 ways to Sunday, man.
Yeah, no, she is 100% like one of my favorite women wrestlers. I miss her tremendously. I wish she would come back.
Hoping for SummerSlam.
Yeah, that would be great. For sure. Yeah, just like I say, the accent does help. But I think the biggest thing about all these promos is, again, and I've mentioned this before on Love Wrestling, they're not coming across as something that they spent all afternoon memorizing. It doesn't feel like Brian Gerwitz or Vince McMahon or Bruce Pritchard or whoever handed them a piece of paper and said, here's your promo for tonight. It was go out there, say what you got to say, and get some stuff off your mind. And I think that, anyone that is put in that position is putting themselves in a very advantageous position to produce some great stuff, it's sink or swim in that. And those people have been very buoyant.
Yeah. To no discredit to any other woman on the WWE roster, because I think we've all had the discussion at separate points that this is probably one of, if not the most talented female roster in the world right now. But Becky Lynch, like you said, Shaw, she's on a whole other level.
Oh yeah,
it's a very cliche way again for me to put it, but she's a star in a way I don't think really anyone on the roster right now is. Roman Reigns is even just getting there, I think. But Becky's run over the last 2 years prior to leaving for her pregnancy, untouchable.
Will you ever forget her with the bloody face? No. She shows up on the SmackDown just to lay some waste. Becky Lynch is the man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no other way to put it. Joe, is there anybody you think? Is there anybody you think comes close? Let's keep it on the promo specific, because wrestling, I think there's a lot more room for argument, a lot more leeway. But as far as the promo goes, who comes close to Becky Lynch? Who's your personal favorite if somebody does come close?
Oh boy, when it comes to the female side of things, I think right now I think Britt Baker is very good at promos. Yeah. But that's more of a right now thing. Yeah, exactly. I think she is hitting all strides whenever she's really good on the mic, and when they let her. AEW is good about letting their talent kind of like Goose said, not memorized. Hey, make sure you hit these points, but go just do you. I think she's really living up to that bill. But I would say in WWE, yeah, it's Becky. I mean, the confidence at all times, like Goose has said, and all of us have really said, you believe every word that she's saying. So when she comes out there and she's like, I'm the man, I'm the best, you believe her because she presents herself that way. If we're talking, I agree with, I think the AJ Lee promo is probably the greatest women's promo of all time. But I think Becky Lynch, as far as people that are at least in WWE, I think she's probably far and away the best female promo they have, I think. And I think when she comes back, people are going to remember that relatively quickly. I think that's the thing. You know what? It's insane in the best possible way to me that we're over a year removed, or nearly a year. I can't remember exactly when she took off last year. We're nearly a year removed, and there hasn't been any less hype for her return the whole time.
Whereas most people, when they leave, whether it's injury, whether it's taking a break, whatever, you do find those periods where not forget about them, but you forget about them, to be as nice as I can with that. Nobody's done that with Becky. I almost feel like that's why it's taken even so long. Like if people had forgotten about her, I bet she could have been back if she had wanted to be for WrestleMania or Backlash or whatever it might be. But like nobody's forgotten about her, which is nuts to me. Yeah. I want to throw this one to you. Zelina Vega, where's she stand on it?
She's up there.
Zach, pick up the point. I'll take you.
I mean, like I haven't watched WWE in a long time, so I missed a better part of Zelina Vega's run, especially on the main roster. But like whenever I saw her, like she spoke with such confidence and like perfectly articulate. She hit her points. She did wonders for Andrade. Like they were such a great pair, and like she was excellent, but she was a different kind of excellent from like the likes of Becky, because she was Zelina was great on someone else's behalf, while Becky was great for herself, so to speak.
Yeah.
But again, beyond that, I can't really speak too much into Zelina Vega's run, especially on the mic, intelligently. So I will leave it at that.
Well, that is completely fine. Hop on, Shaw.
I think if you're talking about women's promos and stuff, I think somebody that's kind of underrated and is good at delivering those like scripted promos is Bailey. I really love what Bailey's been doing lately. Like, it's so annoying and grating, and I just hate her. Like, yeah,
you hate her with love.
Yes, I have a lot.
You hate her for all the right reasons.
Yes,
hell yeah! A great shout in here from Lawrence as well too. Becky has the ability to make some of the most overproduced promos sound authentic, and I think that's the mark of any great pro wrestler. You know what I mean? Is you are able to, like a lot of the individuals on screen right now have said, you have to be able to deliver that authenticity. And she's one of the best at it. Parrish, here's a point that I'm interested to get your opinion on, because I think it's one that you can speak to well. Throwback hopping back in, and thanks as always for the comments, friend. Sometimes women's promos, you don't have to say anything, but the body language and image says it all. Medusa and the title in the trash can should be considered a promo. The body, lingo, and image is absolutely incredible to it. And I got a lot of time for that, but I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, there's a difference between a promo and a segment. And a segment doesn't have many words, whereas a promo is more vocal. So I would say that was a good segment. I wouldn't say it's a good promo, because the idea of a promo is to speak. But with that said, I think like my point was authenticity too. Like, so like that was kind of like my big thing. The one thing I don't see a lot in, and I don't like the comparison between women and men, because it's all the same. Now to me, like you can be a good asset. You can be a good asset regardless of what's between your legs. But like,
just for clarification, that's not what I meant.
No. I'm not targeting. I'm just saying, generally speaking, because like what I see a lot in this modern time is comparing if a guy did something and a girl did something. Like, and really, I'm at that point where it's like, it doesn't matter. Was it good? And if it was good, enjoy it. If it wasn't good, then tell me why it wasn't good. But here's the thing too, like the good people find a way to stand on their own 2 feet, regardless if you're a wrestler, if you're a manager. A good promo has the ability to build up whatever you're doing, who you are, and then evolve you to a next level. If that's the case be. Becky Lynch not only was everything we've talked about, but the one thing that we haven't said is it was the most organic out of everyone. What AJ Lee did was organic, because we all knew how good she was. We talked about Punk. He was the same thing. Being organic in pro wrestling right now gets you more eyes than anything else, because we can look at the John Cenas, we can look at the Charlottes, we could look at the Nikki Bella, or we can look at the Roman Reigns. Everyone that WWE has forced upon us to say, these are our choices. It's the organic aspect of the CM Punks, the AJ Lees, maybe the Beckys, to why they're considered bigger, because those are the fans' picks and not necessarily the company's picks. And because of that, they're usually the ones who, quote unquote, love wrestling the most. And
he got the plug in, guys. He got the plug.
Talent always shows, and that's where it is. Whether it's heart, whether it's emotion, whether it's those things, that's what makes a promo what they are. Is when you're able to feel that emotion from what they say, what they do. That's why these are iconic, because they're believable. And in pro wrestling, the best things are believable.
Yeah, I like the examples that you brought up there as sort of like the quote unquote company people. When you look at Charlotte and Reigns and the Bellas, I think they're all really great examples because in all of those 3/4 instances, whether you're looking at Nikki and Brie as separate or not, I think all of them are great examples of individuals who definitely had that. And like throwback in your comment there as well about Roman Reigns, they're all individuals who did for a long, long time have that very scripted, very forced feel. And even at points, like we can argue. There have also been points where for all of those individuals, they've, pun fully intended, they've had the reins taken off of them. And you see what they can do. You see what Roman Reigns has been able to do over the last little bit. Like, I stand by it. Anybody wants to go back and watch the Ronda Rousey, Nikki Bella feud heading into Evolution, you won't be disappointed. It's damn good. And I think that Nikki, again, sort of had the tethers taken off there and wasn't given the, hey, here's what you start, finish, and fill the time with. Here's your points. Here's what you go with. And they delivered some great, great stuff out of that. So I think that like a great summation for me is like you guys have all said, and rightfully so, doesn't matter how much you're given, how much you're not given, how much is scripted versus not scripted. When people have the ability to be themselves and do what they want with their words or their lack that they're given of words, I guess, that's where you're really hitting the nail on the head, right?
One last point I wanted to say, we talked about all these women, and we should. They're all very talented. We can talk about how good Alexa Bliss is just from an acting standpoint, but the GOAT to me when it comes to putting it all together and really elevating not only herself, but in the main event of all the top guys, Trish Stratus. That girl was money on top of money, on top of money, on top of Bitcoin money. And this is when Bitcoin mattered. But that girl was, I mean, we talked about AJ Lee, who I think was the real face of the change of the women's revolution. She wasn't the hand-picked thing. But Trish Stratus made, I think, from a guy standpoint, and we can really talk about this because masculinity is really a thing with guys. It's weird, but it's a thing. It makes no sense. But Trish Stratus made a cool saying, my favorite wrestler is a woman, no matter what. And I think that was really cool. That was a groundbreaking performer right there.
Completely agree with you, my friend. Now, we're going to hit a quick break because we've only got about 15 minutes left here on Love Wrestling. And with so many great individuals on the screen doing great things, not just today in the Goose's case, but throughout the week here on Love Wrestling. We also want to make sure that if you're tuning in, you get a little bit of news, you get a few exclusives, you get stuff like that as we go through. So, coming up this week on Love Wrestling, tomorrow I'll be chatting with Sam Laterna, of course, an IWTV host, the showrunner of Camp Leapfrog, and the host of Wrestle T, and a former Storm Wrestling Academy a current, I guess, graduate of the Storm Wrestling Academy. You don't ever not become a former, whatever. I also, this Tuesday, prior to the return of Backyard Pro Wrestling, Season 3 kicks off this Wednesday, June 30th. Love Wrestling is proud to be behind it, and we were very, very excited to get the opportunity to chat to a number of members of the roster. I got the chance to chat with a good friend of mine, one of my favorite Canadian pro wrestlers, Alexia Nicole, which was especially cool because a few weeks ago, as I'm sure you guys all know, Taylor Wilde returned to the ring for the first time in a decade. Especially cool for me in that sense. She was the one who trained Alexia Nicole beginning at 15 years old. So we're going to chat about that. We did chat about that, but that'll be released this Tuesday. Here's a quick little clip before we close her out here on Sunday Brunch. Now, someone else on the Impact end that I was really excited to ask you about. How cool is it to see Taylor Wilde back in the ring?
Oh my God, it's so cool. I'm so happy for her. Like, it makes me happy to see her again. Because again, like the last time I saw her, she was training me, like when I was starting out. And so it's really good to see. And like, she hasn't missed a beat. So that's awesome. Yeah. And it's just good to see her having fun, still killing it. And like, it's cool to see her trainer do things. Really cool.
How much do you guys keep in contact? Because like, again, maybe graduation isn't the right way to put wrestling school. Most wrestlers will continue to go to wrestling school, but like, how often do you guys keep in touch? How often do you pick her brain on your professional wrestling or otherwise?
I'd say like we're not all like talking constantly, but I'd say like every few months we'll just like kind of check in on each other, see what's going on. Yeah, and she'll like again like she's my wrestling mother essentially. She'll give me advice, she'll tell me what to do. If I have a question, I can ask her, so that's always great.
Have you guys ever had an official match? Like, I'm certain you guys have locked up when you're training and that sort of stuff, but ever had a one-on-one?
We have not, and I've asked people to do it, but no one's gotten around to it yet.
Well, if we got to get it booked out here in Alberta, then maybe if that's what we got to do, we got to do. Make it happen, Albertan promoters. I don't want to travel, but I want to watch that match. That was Alexi and Nicole chatting about Taylor Wilde. It's a great chat. I'm very, very lucky to speak to some great people in pro wrestling. She was one of them for certain. So stay tuned for that one this Tuesday on Love Wrestling. In a couple of minutes here, we're going to give you the full schedule of what we've got coming up. But Parrish, I'm going to turn to you first, man.
Okay.
When can we see you back in the ring?
July 11th. Which is actually nice because it's 5 minutes from my house. And after the 2-week thing, I will be fully vaccinated and ready to go. Because even though I got my second shot, they do tell you to wait the 2 weeks because I guess everything has to flow correctly. I don't know. But yeah, no,
we ain't scientists on this show. I can guarantee that one. They told me the same, and I was just like, okay, doc.
Ironically enough, I only play against Bill Nye sometimes in Among Us. I'm not actually him. It's actually true too. I'll be facing off against you call them a douche canoe. I always call them cheetah bitch Jude Dawkins and Bobby Sharp, who, let's face it, I have nothing but love. He's in my wedding party, so I love that guy to death, but I will kick him in the mouth if I have to become the next HIW Grand Champion at the Canadian Wrestling Elite over in St. Albert, July 11th. In just a few weeks.
Awesome.
So that's where you can find me next in the ring.
I love
and
to
who
hear
knows,
it,
maybe
man.
maybe I'll wear these. We don't know yet.
I mean,
hell yeah. I'd give her a big hell yeah. Goose, I know you mentioned it off the hop on the show, but you're back in action or in some way, shape, or form. I misspoke earlier. You're on the injury deck, you told me. But you're back this Thursday. You're on the cover. You're on the poster. I saw her come out today.
Yeah,
you're
I saw that today too, and I was like, oh, right on. Like, solid.
You're looking good.
I appreciate that. That is kind of an older photograph of me. I hope I'm looking better than that right now. But it's great to be back sort of on the roll again. Like, even though I can't compete at the moment. I have a torn rotator cuff, which is a real bummer. I have got back into the announcing gig, and I'm getting to try out some managing when there's other people that are announcing and stuff. So, I'm still going to be involved. I'm still going to be there because, I love it. They can't keep me away. Like, I rode with Vic in the ring truck to Calgary this last week, which is like he picked me up at 9:30 in the morning for a 7:00 show. And then we left the venue in Calgary at like midnight, and I got home at 5:30 in the morning. So, it's Calgary to Edmonton's like a 2-hour drive, 3-hour drive. So, if I gotta make it a 6-hour drive just so I can be there to back my boys up at ringside, then great. And Dolly Parton and Hulk Hogan. That's awesome. Speaking of Dolly Parton, she does that awesome song 9 to 5, which is Taryn from Accounting's entrance music, and Taryn from Accounting is going to be my special guest coming up on the Goose Call today at 1:30 Mountain Time as we cover the fantastic Dildo on a Pole match from Clandestine Society Act 1. It should be a fun watch, so please join us for that.
Goose, that might honestly be the best transition we've ever pulled off on this show. Incredibly well done.
You picked up on that because that's exactly why I put it up there. I love you, buddy.
It's absolutely gorgeous. I appreciate it very much, and it sends us nicely. Here's everything we got coming up. As Goose mentioned, tonight, 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time, we've got the Goose. We've got Taryn from Accounting chatting about the Dildo on a Pole match from the Clandestine Society Act 1. On Monday, I'm joined by Sam Laterna and Josh looks at the legacy of Paige. Tuesday sees me go back-to-back with Alexia Nicole and Rye Levy, the host, the operator, I suppose, the director, the everything behind Out in the Ring. We've got Power out that evening as well. Wednesday returns with Turnbuckle Rewind. Thursday, The War reports back at its regularly scheduled time, and we've got the Between Two Beards debate. I'm going to be chatting Bret Hart. Josh is going to be chatting Shawn Michaels, and I am going to be winning that debate. We got blowing off stream Saturday, raising money until this Thursday for the Trevor Project, and a lot more great stuff in between, including some reacts, including some live streams. There might be a surprise run-in every once in a while if we've got the opportunity to chat pro wrestling with you wonderful individuals hopping in the chat like Throwback was, like Corey was, like everybody in between today for Sunday Brunch. You know that we are happy to, and we are always, always, always happy to welcome you guys back in here. It is incredibly appreciated that you guys choose to spend your Sunday mornings anytime that you spend on Love Wrestling with us, because holy cow, there is a lot of professional wrestling content. There are a lot of individuals that are great individuals like the people you see on screen today, speaking exclusively for the 5 individuals outside of myself that are doing stuff like we're doing. So the fact that you guys choose to support us means a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you for continuing to do so. Parrish and Goose, I asked you guys about yourselves, so we're going to move on to JPJ, Mr. J, and Zach, making it easy because, man, we got a lot of people with J's in their names on this site, so I would have screwed that up if we had one more. JPJ, you give us the preview of what you can expect this Thursday on Between Two Beards. Mr. J will move to you. Zach will move to you following that out. And Darnell, I completely agree, man. It is cool. Thanks for tuning in, friend.
Yeah, this Thursday night, like you kind of previewed, it'll be yourself versus Josh Robinson in what we are calling a Between Two Beards face-off. Hopefully, this is not the only one. This would be the first of maybe this down the line. Yeah, you will be fighting on the side of Bret the Hitman Hart, one of your favorites, and Josh will be arguing about why Shawn Michaels is better than Bret Hart. It should be fun. Me and Pluggo, John, are going to be kind of the moderators of it. We're very much looking forward to it. It'll be the last day of June, technically, I believe, so we can raise it through Thursday. So hopefully we can go out with a bang on that aspect of it too. But yeah, man, I'm very much looking forward to it. It should be fun. Hopefully, we got a preview of that run-in last Wednesday where you guys were getting a little heated already. I was trying to be like, save it. But
if you think that I'm lacking for material in defense of Bret the Hitman Hart, JPJ, I was skimming the top waters on that one. We were taking the
I'm
easy.
ready.
We were grabbing the algae off the top. We're getting into the deep water sooner rather than later.
The good thing is, obviously, me and Pluggo are going to me and Pluggo are going to be the moderators. I lean with you and Bret Hart over Shawn Michaels, and he leans with Josh and Shawn Michaels over Bret Hart. So it should be good. It should be good. It's going to be a fun time. Very much looking forward to it.
Who would have thought that Pluggo's decision making would be questionable after taking
cool running
the second round? Mr. J, I know you mentioned again a little bit earlier, we've got a week to wait, so start building the anticipation now, my friend. You've got AJ Lee on Poetry of a Promo next.
Yeah, we're dropping on July 5th, I think. That's next Monday. First Monday of July. Dates are difficult. I apologize for getting that wrong if I did. So yeah, we have AJ Lee, the Pipe Bomb, and a couple other surprises mixed in there. Maybe something good, maybe something bad, maybe something a little crazy. She's done it all. It's going to be a fun episode. I'm really looking forward to recording it and probably giving my intern Kayla shit for writing things down wrong, but it happens. You don't pay them.
It's an eclectic mix, but one we love here on Love Wrestling.
Exactly. But actually, if I could, before I hand the reins over to Mr. Zach Ralph over here, go and watch Word Slam on Twitch, YouTube, whatever. Go watch it. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. That was a great show.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and I already can't wait for the next one, although the enigmatic Mr. J tends to throw dates at me. Hodgepodge in the best possible of ways. When you tell me you're ready, friend, I am ready for another edition of Word Slam here on Love Wrestling, but that'll be in the future. We made a fancy graphic featuring some of the stuff Zach's up to. Zach, what are you doing this week?
Yeah, this week, as always, Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, it's going to be Power Out, our live reaction to everything NWA. I will be joined by special guest co-host Ian Abel of the Ian Abel Band. Ian's music has been featured in AEW several times for various feuds involving Cody Rhodes and their hype video packages, which they do an excellent job of. Also on the Smark and Friends podcast on Two Finger Guns Club Network, I'm going to be joined by Flyin' Frank Milano, and we're going to be reviewing the film starring Kelsey Grammer and Adam Copeland, Money Plane.
Yes.
Oh man!
If you guys haven't watched Money Plane yet, like I would have no issue if we had less viewership on one of our shows this week, and they were all to message me and say, "Hey, sorry we couldn't tune in. This was the only time all of our viewers could watch Money Plane this week." Cool.
Yeah,
go watch Money Plane. It's excellent.
I've seen exactly one clip. I'm going to watch the film tonight, but man, like it's just Kelsey Grammer talking to Edge, and in a million years, I would never have predicted the line that Kelsey Grammer says, and I think anyone who's seen the clip knows exactly the one I'm speaking about.
1,000%. Honestly, I know. There are a lot of bad movies out there worth your time, Shaw. There are a lot of real bad movies out there worth your time. 100%. Exactly, man. But that about wraps it up here for Sunday Brunch, friends. After today's show, if you guys are tuned in on Twitch, we're going to go hang out with Ring of Honor star Sledge. He does his coffees with Sledge, a great individual. He's watching and listening to some heavy metal, which we chat about extensively as part of our upcoming interview here on Love Wrestling. Let's tie this all together with a nice little bow. But you guys are going to have to stay tuned for not only next week's Sunday Brunch, but next week throughout Love Wrestling for that one. I've got a lot of great guests this week, so I've got to save a lot of great guests for the week following as well. However, we don't want to lack in support for great individuals, so you guys are going to see the start raid or raid now. I guess I see the start raid button. That's what pops up for me on this whole here Twitch creator dashboard. But you guys will see the raid now button popping up shortly. That means we're about 15 seconds away from going and hanging out with a great individual in pro wrestling, like I've had the privilege to, not only today, but every Sunday here on Love Wrestling. If you want to throw some support on social media, you can find us where videos are viewed, podcasts are listened to, and articles are read at Love Wrestling CA. For Parrish, for JPJ, for the Canadian Goose, honk, 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 for Mr. J, for Zach, I've been Spencer Love. Friends, thank you once again for tuning in on Sunday Brunch. We'll see you on the Sledge side. There's the brand.